Well. Taylor Swift's text messages are being held under hostage, almost as if they're locked in a basement. And we have Jojo Siwa, who says that she's tired of being a lesbian and she's tired of you forcing her to be gay, because apparently gay is a choice. All right, I hope you're ready for it. We have lots to dive into. I have a very special guest that we'll be getting into in just a sec, but let's get it. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's up, guys? Welcome on in. Happy Friday. Oh my God, it's Friday. I'm going to VidCon today. I'm going to be at VidCon today, and then I'm going to be doing a live taping of No Filter at VidCon tomorrow. And you know me, I'm always on top of things, so I still have to figure out what tomorrow's show is going to be. But I'm very excited to have my friend Donna Bowling from Daily Dose of Donna. She'll be joining me on stage, on the Spotify stage at VidCon in Anaheim this weekend, this Saturday. I believe it's at 4:30. If I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me confirm that. 3:30 to 4:30. We will be on the Spotify stage at VidCon in Anaheim this Saturday, June 21st. I will be at VidCon today taping some fun stuff with Spotify. So if you're at VidCon, come in and you see me out and about, come and say hi. And we'll probably talk about all the yummy Blake versus Baldoni drama that never seems to end these days. So get your VidCon tickets if you haven't done so yet, and you're in Anaheim, you want to come by, come by. And also get your tickets to the Zactivated tour, guys. The Zactivated tour. I'm going to be live in person, taping No Filter, meeting each and every one of you all around the country. Hey, the Zactivated tour, surprise special guest. We have July 11th in Dallas at the Uptown Theater with Leanne Locken from The Real Housewives of Dallas. We also have the cast of Vanderpump Villa. We have Hannah, Aiden, and Hagen, and we also have Colonel Kurtz that's going to be in Dallas as well. Then we're going to be heading over to Phoenix with Andy from Popcorn Planet, and we also have Lauren from the Court of Random Opinion that's joined the show. So it's going to be the three of us on stage. We're going to be breaking down all the yummy discovery. I'm hoping we get some leaked transcripts of Blake Lively's deposition that we can act out on stage. Maybe I'll make Lauren play Brian Friedman and I can play Blake Lively, or vice versa. And then Andy can play Taylor Swift. But that'll be Phoenix, Arizona at the Tempe Improv on July 13th. July 23rd, I'll be in Philly at City Winery with Giorgio Says and Steele and Shooter of the Brav Bros. July 27th, I'll be in Chicago at the Rap City Theater with Jenny McCarthy. Donna Bowling and Chef Stu will also be on stage with us. August 8th, I'll be in Seattle with the Sidley Twins at the Rainier Arts Center. And August 10th, I'll be in Los Angeles at Miracle Theater with Chloe Veach from Netflix, Louis Levanti, Christy Cook from Spill Sesh, and Andy Lawani from The Pop Report. So get your tickets now at nofilterlive.com. Also, if you guys were planning to see me in Toronto, you may have gotten an email yesterday. I didn't realize the emails were going out so soon, but we did make the decision to put the Toronto show on hold for the moment. I'm hoping we can do a Canada tour. Obviously, this was a US tour. We were going to try to fit Canada in, or at least Toronto in, but we are going to pause that show for the time being. Like I said, I always wanted to do an international batch of shows. I was planning on hitting Canada, UK, and Australia, because that's where we have the biggest demand, but it's also really important that you guys buy tickets. So definitely go to nofilterlive.com. That's nofilterlive.com and get your tickets now. The first show kicks off in Dallas, July 11th. All right, we have so much to get into, so many yummy stories that we're going to be breaking down, and I can't do it all by myself. I need somebody that's equally as sassy and that drops just as many F-bombs, if not more. You know her from the Court of Random Opinion. Please welcome Lauren. What's up?
Am I allowed to use that word here? I was under the impression that I had to behave. I don't know. So
okay, so I learned that if as long as you're on the live stream for the first 15 minutes, it's kind of a free for all, but after the first, or sorry, it's not, it's a free for all after the first 15 minutes. So in the first 15 minutes, you have to be on your best behavior, especially the first 5 minutes. You can't say anything explicit or naughty or dirty or cursey wordy. And so
that explains all of my problems.
See, and I just learned this recently.
Yeah. Also, you hate, I hate when you use the word yummy and you keep saying it.
It's my favorite word. Like Travis Kelce's
I hate
back.
it.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna make yummy happen. Donna Bowling's in the live chat, guys. Donna and I are gonna be at VidCon tomorrow on
Hey, Donna.
stage at the Spotify stage. Hi, Donna. We're gonna be riding together.
Aw.
Um, let's see. Everyone says good morning. Allie says yummy, yummy, yummy.
Oh, you guys are
Brittany
mean.
says Brittany says loved your video with Shirsty. It was so good. Okay, let's
That
talk
was
about
funny, yeah.
Shirsty because
Yeah.
there is so much that has happened in the last couple of days.
Mhm.
Specifically with these alleged possibly fake. Donna, you should hop on if you're around. Donna,
Yeah, yeah, do it.
Donna says yummy is worse
Oh,
than
no, Donna's out.
yummy
No,
worse than
Donna's
moist.
going to the corner. Go away, Donna. No. I can't believe you just said both of those in the same
Which one would you say is worse, yummy or moist?
Ah! What context? It's like
Um,
a gay nightmare for me.
what does Blake Lively prefer Ryan Reynolds call her, yummy or moist? There's the context.
I can't get into the mind of a gremlin. I don't know what you want me to say to that.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about the HR complaint. Oh, that's right. Donna's at the airport. She's coming back from Charleston.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But so the HR complaints that Donna and we broke them down on YouTube. We were highly skeptical of them. We tried to like work every which way they could potentially be real, but I even reached out to people that work in like Hollywood PR or not Hollywood PR, Hollywood HR, and was like, are these real? Is this standard? Like,
Yeah.
trying to get any sort of information as to whether or not these were legit HR complaints or not. I've always said there was one person that seemed to be the origin of the circulation of these complaints. She claims it's the same wackadoodle Me Too doctor that I know you and I have been talking about this week. Now, I don't know if she's doctored or created these herself, but she seems to
Well,
be,
she doesn't
from
seem to
what I've
doctor much from what I can tell, so I don't know, man.
right. It's so interesting. I think she likes the negative attention.
Seems that way, yeah.
And she just thrives off of it, but it's just to me, it's just dangerous to have somebody out there flexing this title of a doctor without actually, putting out legit information and
Yeah.
really thinking through the words that she's putting out on the internet and the power that she has.
Donna says she doctors her resume.
She
That's true.
doctor.
So the thing is, like, there's so many ways in which this is damaging. So not only is it like she's putting out a bad name for doctors who are on the internet, like, there's lots of like therapists, doctors, people who just try to educate people on the internet because it's good to like speak out and like correct misinformation and stuff like that. And it's awesome when you find somebody who's like reputable and will break things down in a way that a layperson can understand. But when you have a doctor who has a license out here, that's supposed to be someone you can trust because they're held to
Right.
these standards by the board that they answer to and by the entities that they answer to. And that's, if you have that education and if you're going to use the title of doctor, you should be kind of beholden to those standards. And so that's why people can trust you because you can't just say stuff like that and get away with it. But when this lady's out here like spouting off the most nonsensical stuff I've ever seen with absolutely no evidence whatsoever, and then being like, especially this part where she told you I have an effing license. It's
Yeah.
like, are you kidding me? Like, you're actually using your license to justify your gossip. You need to, if you're going to gossip online, that's your right, but you need to absolutely make it clear. This is my opinion on rumors. These are my opinions on something that I read online. It's not like an
Yeah.
actual fact. And she's passing it off as actual facts. And then also, I've seen her now in multiple cases that I've been following, and she is outright diagnosing public figures she has never met, never spoken to, and barely ever researched. It feels like she read a couple of headlines and then this other case that I was following, she like gave like a crazy diagnosis and like said all these things about her behavior, like the person in question. I was like, you clearly have never ever taken a real look into this person's actions or what's going on in this case. So why would you call yourself a forensic psychologist, say I have a license, and then go out here and advertise it like this? That's disgusting. So
Not only that, but even on her Instagram stories, where she was like, "Come on, Brian Friedman, have me evaluate Justin Baldoni," and I'm just like, in what world would you even think that would make sense with some of the
no.
egregious allegations that she's made with, again, zero evidence? And so I shared some of the DMs that I exchanged with her,
I saw
where
those.
I'm just very stern of being like, where is the link to the video? Because she claims that Shirsty Flaw was told not to ask Blake about her bump, and she even touched Blake's bump before the clip that we saw that was circulated of Blake saying, "Congrats on your little bump." And she was like, there was so much more to that. And she's saying that in a video, she's saying that in her comments. And then I was DMing with her individually, and she doubled down on it. And she's like, there's a link. And I'm like, give me the link. And she's just like, I'm busy. And she's like, why are you questioning me? Why are you being rude to me? I'm a fucking doctor. I have
Why
a
are you being
license.
rude? How dare you question me? Even doctors
I
are
was
allowed to
just
have
like,
dissenting opinions. Like, what are you talking
I
about?
was just like, all I'm asking for is a link. I'm not doing this, back and forth. Like, give me the link. And that was give me the link. Give me the link. Give me like it was that simple. And she was just like, you're being rude to me. I'm not doing this anymore. Why would I lie? I have a license. And I'm like, well, it's a license because you're a liar.
Oh my
It's
God.
just,
Yeah, that's
it's
crazy,
insane to
man.
me.
That's crazy work. I can't believe that she even has time to do all that, to be
Well,
honest.
okay, so I saw this tweet this morning. I didn't know if this was substantiated because there's at this point so many documents that dropped that I'm like, wait, have I fallen behind on something? But I saw this tweet from Space Guardian Jane who says with the news dropping about Wayfair knowing where the fake HR complaints came from,
Right.
allegedly James Vituska getting dropped by his lawyers for perjury, the judge giving a deadline for the documents for Lively, including financials and Van Zandt, and news that she'll have to hand over the Taylor Swift text messages. I'm pretty sure Blake's deposition preparation is deeply chaotic. Now, is it true that Wayfair has somehow claimed that they know the origin of these fake HR complaints?
Not that I've seen that, and to be
Yeah.
clear, that doesn't necessarily mean that they haven't said anything because I was out of town for a while. I was out of town for like 3 weeks, almost a month, I think, and so I just got back, and so there is stuff that even I have to catch up on, which is hard to
Yeah.
believe because I'm doing this until like 2 a.m. some nights. But
Yeah.
I've never seen anything to confirm that. I've actually never seen them address it at all. I don't think.
Same. I
So
haven't
it's more
either.
like speculative stuff.
Or I think Friedman did address it in an interview that he gave,
Okay, yeah, that makes
like
sense.
very vaguely kind of glossed over the question.
Mhm.
Or I think he said like he couldn't authenticate them and whatever.
Yeah,
But if they do know who did, I mean, well, it's interesting that Dr. Leslie Dobson is on the potential witness list, and it could be that there's some sort of thread or connection, and that possibly may be why she's dragged in. Because I just know from the communications that I've had with her, she claims to have sources at Sony. She also claims that she has people that have anonymously, through like anonymous emails, gave her information. I believe that's per my recollection, I believe that's how she claims that she
okay.
received
Well, I'm
these
gonna use.
alleged
Oh,
HR complaints.
we're only at 13 minutes. So I was gonna say I'm gonna use an anonymous email to tell her what a piece of whatever I think she is. But
But
that's just
it's
ridiculous.
and how convenient is that to be like, well, they didn't send them to anybody else, but I just got this they didn't send them to all these other big creators on the internet with email addresses that are publicly accessible, but they sent them to her. Like
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, it doesn't like make the story make sense. Um,
No,
and as
they were
far as
not very
I'm
well
aware,
written either.
yeah, as far as I'm aware, the creators that I do know that also received them didn't receive them via like an anonymous email. They originated from Dobson.
Of course.
So to
Yeah.
me, everything goes back to her. So I'm a little weirded out by that because something about that just feels off. I haven't explicitly said that she is the person that created these or may have doctored these. It's
Right.
possible because she's the origin from as far as I've been able to dig of these, but I don't know. I guess we'll see when the depositions come. But it was just wild that she was even like, let me evaluate Baldoni to see if he's a
Ew.
psychopath.
Ew. Why would you let someone evaluate somebody comes in with a preconceived notion of you're guilty of all this crap?
Yeah.
That because like, as educated as she says she is, because somebody on Twitter or somebody emailed me and said this. Like, what are you doing to your professional reputation right now? Do you just want to be a TikTok psychologist? Fine, advertise that. Like,
Yeah.
mm, mm,
But like, listen, even when you see other doctors online, when you see like plastic surgeons who do like celebrity face reviews of like, here's what I think they did, they never say things with certainty or with, knowing facts. They're very much like, this is what I think. This is my professional opinion, but I don't
right.
know for certain. I haven't seen their face. I haven't evaluated them or spoken to. Like, you have to kind of have those guides of protection, which to me, the biggest that she has is that her account, she's changed it to satire. It says satire in
That
her
doesn't mean
bio.
Jack 14. Hold on, give me 3 seconds. That doesn't mean jack shit, bro. Like
No,
that
it
doesn't mean
doesn't.
jack shit. No, especially if you're advertising in a video where people are not required to view your profile to see the video. Okay. And you're saying all this crap, and then also at the end of it saying, by the way, I'm Dr. whatever forensic psychologist. Like you're clearly advertising your opinions as a forensic psychologist. You can't just that's not gonna work. And I hate to
No.
I actually hate bringing this up because I don't want this to sound like my father, the inventor of toaster strudel, but my dad's a forensic psychologist. I've had him on my show before to ask him about some cases that were like higher profile, and he like refused to answer most of the questions that I had because he was like, no, I'm beholden to these standards by my licensing board. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
My mom and my sister said the same thing. My colleagues at work have said the same thing. They're like, no, we wouldn't comment on stuff like that. And I'm so like, why are these people on the internet feeling so entitled that they can just get away with this? And they have so many followers because the thing is, like, all these psychologists and therapists who are operating by ethical standards, they're like not speaking out. And so by the time like people online who want to know all this juicy information are seeing somebody who's finally going to say and validate what they're thinking, they're like, oh my God, yes, I have to click on this person's content all the time. And they're getting all this crazy crap like seeded into their brain. I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. This could do so much damage.
Yeah, think about it too, though. The attorneys that are commenting on this case, you have like Johnny Depp's attorney and Amber Heard's attorney that have both given interviews at this point, and even with their professional opinion as lawyers, they're still very vague in how they answer things and what they want to say about them. Like they're still very much trying to be mindful of not getting themselves in trouble.
That's what you do when you care about your job and you care about how you affect others with your profession. Because if you get into these professions, you should care about how you affect other people, and you should not go out on the internet and be like, this person's an abuser based on this voice note that I heard, spreading also misinformation around the context of that, or just not including it at all whatsoever. Like, it's crazy. The stuff that she said, gaslighting, love bombing, she compared it to domestic violence. I'm like, what are you doing? Where did you come from? What planet are you from? Oh my God. Who taught you this?
Let's be very clear. There's a very clear definition between assault and harassment, right? Like those have two completely definitions, and especially under the law, they have two very different definitions. But she constantly refers to it as assault versus harassment. She at one point had a video where she says that they're basically the same thing. She's since removed that video, and she claims that it was because, I think TikTok said that it violated community guidelines. So she's just like, I took it down on Instagram too. Cause I was like, why did you take the video down? She's like, TikTok made me. I was like, well, then why'd you take it down on Instagram? She's like, well, I just figured it'd be safer to also take it down on Instagram since TikTok made me take it down. And I was like, you seem to have a convenient answer for everything. But like, even you can see, even in the messages that she sent me, she very clearly uses the word assault. And to me, I'm just like, that there's a difference. And know that by saying SA versus SH, that you're really exaggerating these things.
This is kind of a controversial opinion, but I'm a little bit on the fence on describing it that way because, yes, she's formally only accused him of, sexual harassment or whatever. But at the same time, some of the stuff she's describing, like the non-consensual unscripted kissing and like all that stuff on her neck or whatever, when we've seen how it really happened, he did not assault her. But some of the stuff she's describing, if it had happened that way, it would be assault. It would not just be harassment. So it's like, it's hard to kind of describe for me because I'm like, at the same time, I never want to use those words to describe what this man did because obviously he never did that. But I think she knows that, and that's why she doesn't want to outright say, sexual assault versus sexual harassment. And it's like more sexual harassment is easier for people to believe based on like what they're seeing. And there's lots of women with emotional ties to like in situations where they felt, harassed at work or they felt pressured and stuff like that. And so she's picking that one to use, but at the same time, she is describing an assault. So it's tricky, but Dr. Leslie is just a moron. So.
Yeah. Okay, this same tweet that I referenced earlier says that James Vituska was dropped by his attorney for penalty of perjury. It seems like the logic here is because his previous attorney withdrew after he filed his declaration, which was filed under penalty of perjury. And so I think they're putting together the fact that it's convenient that attorney dropped or withdrew from the case, and now we have Garagos, who is now jumped in to represent Vituska, who's the Daily Mail reporter. He was the one that was going back and forth and communicating with Baldoni's team and communicating with Lively's team. And I believe in his messages, he does reference essay. He does say something about assault in regards to things that Leslie Sloan was saying in regards to what happened between Blake and Baldoni on the set of It Ends With Us. Do you think that he was dropped for perjuring himself?
I don't really know. I mean, it's hard to say because there's only so much I know about this guy in general. But also, I thought that he was just like done. I thought he was done. Like he didn't need representation anymore. Like he gave his affidavit or whatever, and now he is no longer needed. So I'm like, why are you getting these new attorneys then? Like, what is happening here?
And listen, Garagos is a bigger like that. Those are some bigger guns that you're bringing to the table, which to me says there's something that you're worried about. Otherwise, it should have been as simple as, filing your declaration and being done with it.
Right. That's why I was so confused. I was like, what? Why are we still involving this person? So I got to think there's something that we just can't see because there's a lot that happens that we can't see on the public docket. Subpoenas and responses to certain interrogatories and stuff like that. Unless they're arguing about compelling someone to answer some questions and stuff like that, we're not going to see it. So we don't know what all is being asked. We don't know what all is being answered. So I got to think there's something there that's happening that we just don't know about. But I have no clue as to like what that could be. So.
Now, we do have deadlines that are coming up for Discovery. And one thing that's the biggest to come out of this week is that Taylor Swift, her text messages have been pulled into everything. And now it's a matter of whether or not Swift's text messages are going to be revealed at some point, turned over. Blake Lively seems to be fighting that. She fought for a protective order that was denied by the judge. Wayfair was trying to compel Blake Lively to turn those over. The judge also denied the motion to compel. So the text messages are kind of just in limbo at this point. I do want to get your thoughts on the text messages, but really quickly, we have to take a break for this week's sponsors. It's summer, which means travel plans are in full swing. Don't be caught off guard while you're away from home, and be sure to pack a travel-friendly medical emergency kit from the Wellness Company. No need to deal with the hassle of sickness because this compact blue case is your portable urgent care, stocked with ivermectin, Z-Pak, amoxicillin, and 6 other essential prescription medications right at your fingertips. With the Wellness Company's medical emergency kit, you can tackle serious health concerns without worrying about urgent care, especially when you're far away from home. This kit cuts through the red tape by allowing you to take control of your health versus being reactive and inconvenienced. You don't need a gatekeeper because their medical board created a guidebook that outlines common treatments for UTIs, strep throat, bacterial infections, respiratory illnesses, and more. All it takes is filling out a digital intake form, and your kit arrives at your door in 1 to 2 weeks. Order your kit now by heading to twc.health/nofilter and use code NOFILTER to save up to $45 off plus free shipping. Kits available to U.S. residents only. Summer is here. More sun, more light, more time to do all the things that make summer so special, right? And the number one thing that you don't want to be doing this summer is spending hours cooking inside. That's where Factor comes in. Factor's chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, and it takes the hassle out of eating well. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick up gourmet meals that fit your summer gains or your goals. Look at that. Get the gains in. I'm on a protein rich, but they also have other options like Calorie Smart or Keto, or you can join me on the Protein Plus plan. Factor powers your day, sun up to sundown, with nutritious breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. Factor has your whole day covered. Enjoy more this summer. Get Factor if you want all the flavor and none of the fuss. Get started at factormeals.com/nofilter50 off and use code NOFILTER50 off. That's NOFILTER50 OFF. No filter 50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code NOFILTER50 off at factormeals.com/NOFILTER50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/NOFILTER50 off. Okay, so Taylor Swift's text messages, they are in limbo at the moment because Blake hasn't turned them over. We've also heard Wayfair say that Blake hasn't turned anything over. They've been trying to get her to give some sliver of evidence that can back up her claims, and so far she's given absolutely nothing. Do you think it's because she has nothing, or do you think she's trying to avoid giving them anything that could help their deposition of her this upcoming Monday?
Yeah, I think it would have something to do with the deposition. I mean, she has something. Whether or not it's like super significant is kind of up in the air. I feel like if I had to guess, I'm gonna say like, and this is totally totally speculative. If I had to guess, I would say there's probably something in those texts that says she didn't like him very much, and like how she felt about him in a certain way when they were filming, and oh, you come to this, whatever meeting, and I don't like this guy, and I think he's kind of scummy or whatever. Maybe she just didn't like him. I think there's probably some text about how she didn't like him, but I doubt that there's going to be any texts that say he, sexually harassed her or anything like that. So that'll probably, in a way, that would kind of prove his point that like she just didn't like him, so she wanted to set him up to look in a certain way. I don't know, but that's my guess. That's my guess. I have no evidence to back it up, obviously. So, but that's gonna have to come out by like, what is it, like July 1st or something, or pretty soon after that.
Yeah, she has to turn everything over by July 1st. Her deposition's June 23rd, which I think is conveniently timed to make sure that they can't grill her or question her about
Yeah,
any of the items that she has in Discovery. I don't believe that there are any HR complaints. I'm curious as to what Jenny Slate and Isabella Ferrer are going to
yeah,
say. They were the two other actresses that were believed to have had complaints against them.
right.
Wait, did you see Dr. Leslie's DMs about Isabella? Because I was
I
saying
didn't
how
see that one. No.
I was asking her about Isabella, and I was like, "Well, like, why do you think Isabella wrote, these really sweet text messages and these nice and said these nice things about working with Baldoni?" And according to Dobson, her sources claim that Isabella was paid off and had to sign an NDA and was forced to send those messages as part of her agreement.
Yeah. Okay. That's. Oh, we're past the 15 minutes. That's bullshit. Like, no, because
I
like
mean, come on.
everything that she said in those text messages echoes everything that I've heard from people who know him, and I've talked to people both who worked on the film, not even people who were just on the set. It's people who were on the set, people who worked, in post, and I've talked to people who just know him in general or know his family. And
Yeah.
I've said, like, I'm just trying to figure out, and this is early stages of all this. I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out if I'm like actually on the right side of this, because I'm not going to come out here and be like, a woman is lying about something as serious as sexual harassment without, like doing my research and feeling very confident about that. So I messaged some people. A lot of them got back to me and were like, we don't want to go on the record. We don't want to. I'm like, that's fine. I'm not going to publish this. I'm not going to say your name or anything like that. I just want to know, like, how
Yeah.
did you feel? Like, what was going on here as far as Justin and you? Like, was he a good person? How is your working relationship with him and your general impression of him and stuff like that? And it was all overwhelmingly positive, saying that, he always made them feel very safe and he always made them feel very supported, and there was just nothing negative anybody had to say, anybody who wrote back. And the people who didn't write back, they were like, I understand they're not talking to anybody right now. So, so
Yeah.
and I'm just like a random person, so I didn't want to go too far, but I would ask them. I'd just be like, so I see that you made a comment here, or that you worked with Justin and you made a comment about how like great he was and all that stuff. Do you want to speak more to that? Because I see there's a lot of, like negative things being said about him right now. And it doesn't necessarily seem like that's true. It doesn't line up with what you've said of him in the past. And so they've had a lot of really nice things to say about him. And so that just made me feel like I was kind of on the right side of where I was going with this. So
Yeah.
I think that is a bunch of bullshit as far as the Isabella Ferrer thing. So
Yeah, I don't think they would make her sign, like, it wouldn't make, like, how would they only pressure and make her sign an NDA and not Blake and not Jenny Slate if they're the other two women? Like, it just, something about it just didn't and then they forced her to send, like, a really nice message, like, "You better say that you had a good time, little girl." Like, it's just is so
what the hell?
strange to
Who
me,
does
like,
that? Oh God, no! Can you imagine? Because then Sony's gonna get in the shit if they do that. So like, they're
yeah.
not gonna do that. Who
And
does
also,
that?
even if there is this alleged NDA, how would Dr. Dobson know about this? Like, how would she become privy to this? Like, it's such a strange reality that she lives in.
Look, man, nobody's gonna talk to you right now unless. So, like, the questions that I asked people were like very pointed. They were like, I said, I do not want to know what happened on the set. I don't want to know anything about the film. I'm not asking you anything related to the case. Just like, how is this dude in general? Because people won't answer questions about what happened on that set right now. They will not. Because imagine if you did, you would get
Yeah.
swarmed by people and reporters and all that. Like, even the people who showed up on like 60 Minutes and stuff. I'm probably like, oh God, they're gonna get destroyed in their DMs because people are
Well,
like harassing people on all manner of ways online. So like people don't want to talk about this stuff. So there's no way anyone's out here talking to Dr. Leslie about NDAs. It's not
yeah,
happening.
no. Just trust me when I tell you the theories that she would present to us was just so wild to me. And just like the like I don't know, it was just this crazy like she's like the QAnon of Blake Lively. It's just it was so deep down the rabbit hole of all the different like conspiracy theories that she had with all of her threads of like what's connected and who's
Yeah.
connected and secret NDAs. It's wild. Um but yeah, we'll see what happens with the text messages. Do you think there's even anything in the messages? Like what could possibly be there that Friedman wants so badly that Blake doesn't want out there? Like, do you think
Yeah.
somebody from Taylor's team, when they drop the subpoena, they're just like, this is what you need to look for? Like, here are the messages, these are the dates, like, here's the info that you need. Go get it from Blake.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It honestly could be. It honestly could be, and I just say this in relation to what we have right now because a lot of his case was dismissed. So, like in relation to what we have right now, it could be kind of not a huge deal, just because they're no longer suing her for defamation and stuff like that because the judge wrote that off. Whether that gets appealed or not, I have no idea. Um, so it could just like in relation to her claims, it could maybe not do much for them. But at the time, maybe her saying, Blake told me this and this is about Justin. She wanted to kind of force his hand in this way, or she asked me to help her kind of influence him in this direction, or like I want my writing, or whatever, this and that. I want an opinion on that. Can you give it to Justin? Even not even saying outright, I want him to do this. I need you to help me because you're like a big name, but just like giving her a nudge, being like, I need some encouragement here and some help here. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But like, it's hard to say. It's really, really hard to say because I have no insight into these people's relationships, behind the scenes. So I couldn't really tell you. If I had to guess, then I think maybe she was talking, shit about him or whatever, but not saying anything about sexual harassment, which would, I feel like, lend some credibility to the fact that she was trying to force him into certain situations and trying to, manipulate a certain outcome. And then also just like showing that she did not, in fact, report to her best friend that somebody was sexually harassing her. So
Yeah. Which to me would then only leave we have her sister Robin, we have her
mhm,
hairstylist, and we have her makeup artist that are also on the list right now.
yeah,
I would assume they're all going to testify in support of Blake or
sure.
file some sort of affidavit
Yeah.
in support of Blake, being like, yes, he did walk in well. Like, I don't even know what they could say that at this point would even come off. Like, but then it's like you have to question the legitimacy of them, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
they work directly with Blake. Are they really gonna risk their job to, you know
Well, how far are you willing to go, man? I don't know. I guess not you personally, obviously, but
No,
like how
yeah.
far are they willing to go? I don't know. I don't know anything about her, sister really. I know her sister was she like a child? I mean, she wasn't a child star, was she, or what? What was
She's
she
done
in?
some acting. I don't
I
know.
can't remember. And as far as her sister goes, it's like, what are you really doing right now outside of this project? These projects with Blake and stuff like that. So I feel like that's maybe they're kind of tied together in a way that she would want to go out of her way to support her, even if it's not necessarily in her best interest individually. You know what I mean? So, but as far as the makeup artist and stuff like that, I have no clue. I have no clue. I mean, you couldn't get me to go near a makeup artist if you paid me, so I have no idea what to think about that.
I I mean, I'm assuming it's a regular makeup art, but again, if
Yeah.
that's the most that she has, is the 3 of them willing to testify on her behalf? And even, like, what's Jenny Slate and Brandon Sklenar like, what are they gonna say on the stand? Like, when they get pulled into this, or at least if they get deposed, I'm very curious because I mean, what's the most they can say? Baldoni was a jerk, production was chaotic, um, you
Yeah,
know?
I guess. I mean, Brandon will probably put the jury to sleep, so I'm not really sure his testimony will matter. But with the other one, it's like she has messages to him. Or are we talking about Isabella or Jenny? I forgot.
Jenny.
Jenny. I don't know much about. I mean, I don't know because she's kind of very much not wanting to talk at all about that right now. I know she sounded a little snappy about it, to be honest. When somebody asked her about it last time, it was like,
Yeah.
I don't ever want to talk about that again. I don't,
Yeah.
probably not a direct quote, but as I'm kind of like, well, obviously some bitterness is here, and it wasn't before when Blake, had you supporting her. So what happened and what changed your mind? So I don't know.
Listen, there has to be something in Taylor Swift's text messages that gave Taylor the impression that I think Taylor knows what went down on the set, and I think Taylor knows that what went down is not what Blake was claiming in her C or D complaint, and I think
Right.
that's why Taylor's tried to stay as far away from this as possible, because there's
Yeah,
something in
that
those
makes
text
sense.
messages that could potentially blow up Blake's case.
I feel like was she on that list of people? I mean, no, she was on the list of people in the disclosures where Blake said she would know what was happening on set, which is funny because she was then trying to write a letter saying Taylor has nothing to do with no. But was she actually on that list from Wayfarer of people that they were including? Do you remember? Because I know you just
Taylor?
did a thing about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Taylor's on
was.
the list.
Okay, I'm sitting here thinking like she probably wanted them to hand that stuff over, thinking that she would be done. Clean hands, not involved. I can at least plausibly stay away from this because while we're all in a little bubble where this everything is like super crazy, and there's like lots of people out there who have no idea what's going on. So she's probably like, well, I'm just outside of this bubble, I'll be fine. I'll just clean hands. I'll give them what they want, and I'll go away. But now if she's gonna have to, end up being deposed, which they weren't planning on, or if she ends up being some kind of witness, it's like, I don't know how that's gonna go. That could take a turn. So.
I know. Because, I mean, if they drag her in and she becomes a hostile witness, that's not going to look good either.
I doubt she would be I doubt she would be a hostile. She seems like somebody who would probably just like cooperate for the sake of like I don't want to be dragged further into this than I need to be. If I'm thinking about it, because I'm like that's the best thing for her image, I guess, would be not to fight it.
Not to fight it, go in, tell the truth, win the audience. Like, the public overwhelmingly is on Baldoni's side, that like her best interest is to just tell the truth if the truth is in Baldoni's best interest.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll see what happens there. But she has her sister. Who else is it? Harvey Levin's dragged in. Vituska's dragged in. Number of reporters. Everybody at Sony. Andrea Giannetti. She's dragged into it. She's the one that Blake's team. She's at Sony, and she's the one that Blake's team tried to say that she reported a complaint to. And I think she came out, or Sony, somebody came out and was like, actually, yes, there was a conversation, and Blake did complain. She complained that there was COVID on the set. Like, that was the extent of the complaint. There wasn't any harassment complaints. Like, the complaint was that she was mad that it wasn't disclosed on the set, which at this day and age, it doesn't have to be disclosed at this point, as long as you're not in close proximity with them.
Look, man, there's probably COVID at those concerts she skipped work for too, but we're not complaining about that, are we? Yeah. It's 2025. It's time to realize that shit's everywhere. So
yeah, at this point. Yes, guys, if you haven't done so yet, hit the like button. We have 1,600 watching live right now. Hit the like button, subscribe, and also check out Lauren's YouTube, Court of Random Opinion. As the documents hit the docket, Lauren is breaking them down live, page by page, line by line. So go give her some love. There's a link in the description below if you want to subscribe to her on YouTube. Let's change gears because I want to chat with you about Jojo Siwa. Jojo Siwa.
Is that how you pronounce that, or are you just being funny? I can't.
There's a grandma on TikTok that would pronounce it like that because she didn't know who Jojo.
I'm on the wrong side of TikTok, bro. I gotta find that grandma.
She was calling her Jojo Siwa. But she just did an exclusive with the Daily Mail. Or she did a photo shoot for You Magazine, and she did an interview with the Daily Mail. And in the interview, she says that she talks about her new relationship with Chris Hayes, which is right after doing Celebrity Big Brother. And she is saying that when she first came out, I believe she was 17, now she's 22. But when she first came out, she says that she considered herself poly and not a lesbian, but I guess she somehow ended up identifying.
Related? What? What? How are those two things related?
I don't know, but I think it was poly, is what she said.
You can be both.
Pan, not
poly.
Oh,
okay. I was about to say that's what.
Pan, which basically means that you're like it does, like I don't know, you're just into everyone.
Sure.
And so now she's saying that she is just queer. And or maybe she's still pan. It's uncertain. But now she considers herself just queer because she went into the celebrity Big Brother house, and then obviously she ran into Mickey Rourke, who's like, "Stay a whole week with me, and you won't be gay anymore." And
Isn't Mickey
then I
Rourke like
guess it worked.
1,000 years old? Like, what was going on? I
His
don't
face
watch
is
Big
like
Brother. I don't
melted.
watch Big. I was like, wait, you're really saying that to a 22-year-old girl? Like, whoa.
Mickey Rourke
Because
looks
being
like
being a creepy fossil is definitely gonna straighten someone out. You know what I
he
mean?
literally looks like you took one of the Mickey Rourke Barbie dolls from back in the day and put it in the microwave for a little too long, and it's just like old and melted and leathery, and it looks rough.
Look, I
But yeah,
don't like
Mickey.
I don't like making fun of people's looks, but if you go across the line of being like sexually harassing a young girl like that, then you're fair game. Fuck, I don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah. I mean, listen, I think he probably in his mind thinks it worked because she came out and ended up dating Chris Hayes and dumped her girlfriend.
Yeah, way to
Um,
go, man! You pushed her right into another guy's bed. Awesome, good for you.
nailed it. Nailed it. Um, or I don't know if her girlfriend was a girlfriend. I think her girlfriend may have been a they
I'm not
friend.
sure. I like I've saw obviously posts and stuff about that, but I don't know
Kath
anything about the
Ebbs.
I don't know
Yeah,
anything about the
Kath
ex.
Ebbs,
So
and Kath Ebbs is non-binary. So
okay,
I don't know. But Kath Ebbs is out the door, and now we have Chris Hayes. And so now JoJo is saying that she felt pressure to be a lesbian at that time when she wasn't really a lesbian. And so because now she's queer or pan. She's hasn't definitively defined it. Now I feel like queer is just kind of like the umbrella term for like
yeah,
I'm anything and everything. I'm down for everything. Um, call me old fashioned, but like we like the whole I remember when like in my high school, early 20s, college, like you didn't have all these options to be pan or like all these different gender options. Like you were gay or you weren't gay or you were
right.
bi.
Yeah.
You liked
Yeah.
one or the other or both. And it
I
was
liked
really kind
this.
of that
I
simple.
liked the simplicity. It was a better time in my opinion, but that's just me.
It's
So
just now we have too many like the like the list is just too long to check all the boxes. And I don't even know what the difference in the boxes are. Like I don't know the difference between pan and bi.
yeah, yeah,
But JoJo, she's dating Chris. But here's the thing, too. I feel like at her age, you kind of go through self discovery, right? Like you kind of force yourself into thinking that you're straight. And then you go through like a period where, like, I'm just bi. And then maybe you have a period where, like, I'm asexual. And then eventually, like, nah, I'm just gay. And that's kind of what you just kind of settle on that at some point. And I feel like JoJo's at that age where she's probably about to settle on it at some
yeah.
point. But at this point, she's so moved into the queer community that now I feel like there's this pressure to identify as queer. And I think that
That's true.
stems
Yeah.
from her pressure to then identify as a lesbian. I don't know. What do you think?
Man, she's been in the public eye and she's so young that I feel like it's probably a little bit honestly probably a little bit harder for her than it is for like a normal, person going through the same experience. But my first gut reaction to that honestly is like, oh my god, gross. And then that's just a gut reaction. It's just like an instant reaction because I'm so sick of people saying that lesbians they're just like going through a phase or whatever, right? Um, because that's not true. But then I really thought about it and I was like, well, she's really young and she's had all this
Yeah.
attention on her for so much time. Maybe she really did feel pressured to say that she is a certain way. And I think that speaks larger to like how the community has been just like in the last several years where you're kind of I feel like there is a lot of pressure to like say like you have to be like this or that or if you have like any little question about just the way that you feel about people or yourself, it's like, well, you have to be like a non-binary or you have to be this or that, or and it's kind of weird because we went from like this was something that was like being like queer or non-binary or whatever was something that was like kind of a little bit of an outlier to be honest because it's like well I feel like this or that but I don't really fit into this label to now it's like people are confused. They're like, well, can I be one thing or the other? It's like, do I have to, like, what does this mean? Like, what does any of this mean? If she feels a little bit attracted to a man, it's not like I can be a bisexual woman. It's like she's like, no, I have to be like I'm queer, and then later it might be something else. I don't know. It's very confusing. If that makes any sense at all, I don't know. I'm kind of word salading. I know, but it's just
Yeah,
very
that was
confusing to me.
I appreciate your Blake Lively answer. The words but no, but I'm with you. I think there's confusion because it's like we're not allowing kids to just kind of figure themselves out. Like, this is the age of self-discovery, right? And Jojo
Yeah.
even said that, like, she looks back at certain years of, like, her late teens, early 20s, and, I mean, she's only 22, but she looks back at some of those years and is like, "I don't even recognize myself because I was trying so hard to just get attention." She's like, "I just wanted attention. I just wanted to be seen." And I feel like that's such a normal thing at that age to
Yeah.
then not have to have that on such a public platform, and then to, try to figure out, who she is. And she even says that after, I guess, Nickelodeon was the last like big network that she was with, and after she first came out, like, Nickelodeon kind of distanced themselves from her. And understandably, I think she just kind of like went a little hard with everything that she was doing. It was very like attention seeky. But she says that after Nickelodeon, once she like reached a certain age and her audience reached a certain age, because like think about it, the girls that were buying Jojo Siwa bows don't really care about her, even though she invented queer pop, but like, or gay pop. She's not
I honestly
in
don't know
their
much about
interest
that at
anymore.
all. All I know about her is that she's said like all this stuff in headlines where she's like, "Oh, I'm gay. I'm not gay." It's like, okay,
Yeah,
lady. Like, I don't even
and
know who
she
you
doesn't.
are, but
She
fine.
doesn't. I don't think she knows who she is, and so now she's
No,
just kind
definitely
of.
not. Clearly.
But it seems like she's like balancing out. Like, everybody has like that like crazy phase. You'd scare your parents. You go a little. You do all the things you're told you're not supposed to do. You dye your hair blue, and you wear crazy outfits, and you sleep with your teacher, and like, maybe just
Yeah,
me.
I skipped
Um,
those. Yeah, I skipped those. But I would love to hear more about that later.
yeah, and then it just, you balance out eventually, and I think she's in the process of balancing out, but it's just, I don't know, it's crazy that we have pressured people to feel like they need to find some sense of identity. They go to a Dr. Leslie Dobson and they're diagnosed with these 5 different things, and they're
Right.
told that they're all these different things without really just allowing themselves to go through an uncomfortable, awkward phase, and then
Mhm.
just wait to kind of let that balance out.
Yeah. Well, I mean for me that was early 20s, so it kind of tracks. But I mean for lots of people it's different, but I just feel like there's so much pressure from inside and outside of the community now that it's like what are you supposed to do with that? Because
Yeah.
the inside the community they're telling you you don't have to be what everybody tells you to be, but then they're also telling you be what we're telling you to be. So it's kind of like
Or
what?
else.
Yeah, yes or else. Oh my god. Yes, it is
It
ridiculous the way people are like infighting and stuff. I'm like, I don't even want to talk to anyone anymore.
I
So
know.
being gay is like such a background thing in my life now because I'm like
Yeah.
30, I'm 32. But when I was 22, I was like going to pride parades and like throwing up rainbows. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not, I'm not the best judge of how she probably feels right now, just because it's been like a decade since I was at that point in my life, and I'm very much like comfortable focusing on other things, and I don't really worry about who I like and stuff like that. I can tell you for sure that I'm 100%. I mean, look at me. I'm a walking stereotype. I'm 100% like I look like a lesbian gym teacher. I basically am one. It's ridiculous. But like I just feel like it's just such a background thing and that's how it should be. But when you're
Yeah.
younger, when you're 20, 22, even up to 25 for me, it's like you're supposed to be this is like the most important thing ever to figure out, and now there's more pressure than ever from all sides saying like you have to be this or that, and it's I can't imagine, especially with like a social media presence like she has and stuff like that. So
I know. The overexposure online and just being so young and so famous, and then being the character that she was, of like she was basically like a YouTuber, but as a child. And like, when you're a YouTuber, you have to have a big personality and you have to be doing all these crazy things to get people's attention. It's like in that YouTube, I mean, obviously, what we do on YouTube is a little different. But like those YouTube
we wait 15
personalities.
minutes to be exciting here. That's what we
Yeah,
do.
we have to wait. Well, because we use bigger words that the algorithm doesn't like in the first 15 minutes.
Well, one of us does.
Oh, I try. Trust me, it'll slip out every once in a while. I'm like, "Oop, I hope I don't get flagged on YouTube." I hope
Yeah.
they don't give me the little what is it? The yellow dollar
Yeah, yeah.
sign.
I'm familiar with it. I know what you mean.
But we have Blake Lively's deposition that's happening this upcoming Monday. Any thoughts, predictions? Do you think we're gonna get anything juicy out of it?
I don't know. I mean, we won't really know what happened probably until a while after that, will we? So,
No, I mean, I imagine we would get some leaks.
yeah, I have no insight into how that's gonna go as far as like leaks, you know what I mean? But I mean, I think it's gonna go rough for her, especially in regarding the sexual harassment claims and stuff like that. It's not gonna go well.
Well, I mean, even in the retaliation claim, she has no evidence of retaliation
Um,
aside from the "we can bury anyone" text message.
well, that's not true because, as you know, Kirsty showed a video of her being a bitch. So now, obviously, there's a smear campaign going on.
Targeted smear campaign.
Yeah,
Wait,
because
did you
all she
see
had to
that?
do was like show her, and it's like, oh, by the way, here's this random video of this lady being a total, not going to use that word, but and then all of a sudden, it's just like kind of like people just started taking off from there. Like, oh yeah, she was like this here too, and she was like this here too, and then oh, this is just who this person is. We don't like that, and then it just took off from there. So I think he's going to have to confront her with a lot of that, and she's going to have to come up with an answer as to why she doesn't think that's organic. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, I mean, and I love that they just keep calling it an untraceable smear campaign. Where it's
Pretty
like, how
pretty
do you
traceable,
prove?
man. Yeah,
But like, how do you prove an untraceable smear? And I love
I
when
don't
Brian
know.
Friedman kind of shades them, and he's like, they themselves called it an untraceable smear campaign, which sounds to me like they don't have any evidence of a smear campaign if it's untraceable. Like,
I don't
you
know. I
know,
guess I don't understand that either. But we'll see if the case in Texas how that pans out because I know she's trying to get the case transferred to New York court,
yeah,
and he's just like, no, dismiss this because this is stupid. But like, if you really look at the arguments, I don't feel like Jed, the guy who supposedly was this mastermind behind the untraceable campaign, and Blake, I don't feel like they have very good cases against each other. I feel like that should just get thrown out. But we'll see.
I mean, I can see where his point is like, well, she defamed me in the New York Times article, but then again, like,
Yeah, but it's
I don't
gonna be
know
the
how that can
same.
even it can't stand because we've already determined that what she wrote in the CRD complaint
Right.
isn't it's protected speech at this
That's
point.
the only reason. Like, that, no doubt, I think those things are defamatory. It's just that there's no way to kind of get around those protections. Is the reason I think they're going to get thrown out. So when I say he doesn't have a good case, I don't mean he doesn't have a good case from like a
Yeah.
human standpoint. I just mean from a legal standpoint. I don't. I
Yeah,
don't think he. Yeah.
we've already seen it crumble.
Right.
And I don't like what is and her case against him is that she believes that he harassed her and then was part of this smear campaign. I'm like, what? And he's like, I wasn't even on this site. He's like, I don't even know you, lady. Like, my job was to monitor
Right.
online conversations. Can you like leave me
Yeah.
alone?
Yeah. And then they're like, well, no, you were using secret military tactics to send emails, but not send them. And I was like, yo, stop. Stop. This is a 1,000-page document. And like, what are you doing here? So they buried that judge over there in like thousands of pages, like because they have a response due today, actually.
Yeah.
Blake does.
Um,
So that's gonna be just more nutty stuff, I
what do you
guess.
think
But
of the Blake bots online saying that we're all going to be deposed and exposed and sued for defamation?
the deposition would go like this. We would have to wait 15 minutes before I could speak candidly, and then I would say a whole bunch of crap that everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" And then I would leave. So I mean,
I
how would
just
that how would that go? I have like one or two communications with them possibly, and they're unanswered messages where I was just like asking for comment on a court document, and I was just like, it took me a while because I'm still new to this to learn. Like, you just wait for them to speak to People Magazine, and then you kind of piggyback off of that. So like,
yeah.
I stopped asking for comment, but at the same time, it's like there was no communication there really. It was just me. I sent an email like, hey, what do you think about this? Do you want to talk about this? But not in those words.
Yeah, I'm not being paid by Wayfair or Friedman or Baldoni or anybody. I've always said if only the only person that I've ever had a direct financial link to was Ryan Reynolds because Mint Mobile used to sponsor my podcast prior to
Oh,
all of this drama.
oh, you're a
And
spy.
I've since had to turn them down twice. I'm just like, no, I don't want. I remember my manager calling me one day and he's like, so we got in the offer. I don't know if you saw the email from Mint Mobile. He's like, I think we should pass, right? And I was like, hard pass. And he's just like,
So right.
just making sure. He's like, I didn't think it was a good idea, but I just wanted to confirm with you. I'm like, hard pass. I
I've
was like,
gotten
it's
one
not gonna go
one
well.
sponsorship offer ever because like I'm still new at this, like I said. And I'm thinking like I don't know if I should talk about this, but then I've heard you talk about your pubes on your show, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I'm kind of like a weird person in that I'm shy, but I'm not shy, right? So
Okay.
with some things I'm shy. And so this offer that I got, it was from a sex toy company. And I was just like, first of all, why did you find me? And second, and so eventually I just ghosted. But I was like, they were trying to get me to do these like raffles and stuff with like sex toys and stuff to my viewers. And I was like, ma'am, what? What? Why? Why? So I don't know how sponsorship offers and stuff go for you guys. That is my only experience with that. It's like they randomly found me and they were like, hey, want to sell dildos? Like, no, I don't want to sell dildos. So I don't know.
Dildos aren't earmarked for the
I'd
audience.
rather shill for T-Mobile or whatever. Like,
Listen, I have seen content creators with the vibrator ads, and they're going after all of them.
I can't do that.
I
Like,
couldn't.
I'll use all manner of like nasty words, but I'm not gonna sell sex toys. I'm sorry.
Here you
Can't do it.
go. No, I couldn't. There are some things that I can't, like, I will say yes to a lot, but then there are some lines I just can't cross. But
Mhm.
no, I don't think we're gonna be deposed. I don't think that we'll be sued for defamation. I mean,
No.
these Blake bots, haven't they learned how Ryan Reynolds and the New York Times just got kicked out of, or just got the defamation case against them dismissed because they're protected under their opinion, they're protected under their opinions being formed from legal filings,
Right.
they're protected by press protections, which at this point, based off of, Heather McDonald's Juicy Scoop lawsuit that happened a few years ago with the Real Housewives of Orange County, and that lawsuit, turns out podcasts are protected press. We have the press privileges if we're reporting on these things.
Nice. Okay. I heard a
I
little bit
think
about
we're
that, but I
okay.
didn't know how that turned out, the Juicy Scoop thing. So
Yeah, Heather ended up getting dismissed because they considered Juicy Scoop, which is an entertainment podcast, to be a form of protected speech under the press privileges, was my
cool.
understanding. So I think we're okay. I don't think we're going to be sued for defamation. You also kind of have to prove malice because Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds are public figures at this point. So, like, there are just so many layers to having to prove that we're defaming them. It's insane. But yeah, like, depose me. Like, you want Dr. Leslie's DMs? Here you go. What do you want? Here, you have it. I have nothing to hide.
I mean, all you can see is my one it didn't work out, the sponsorship opportunity. That's all I got that's financially relevant to anything. And I said no to that. So,
You need a gummy sponsor.
I would do that. As long as it's not like a weird sex thing. Yes.
I have a gummy sponsor, Soul CBD.
Hmm.
They just signed on for the next 6 months too.
What I just heard was you're going to give me those for free. So that's all I heard.
Send you some samples. Soul CBD. Yeah. Well, Lauren, you are going to be on stage with me in Phoenix. So
yeah,
guys,
I'll try not to be like this.
it'll be fun because it's
you
really
might want to give me a script or something. I don't know.
fully unfiltered. It's going to be fun. Guys, go subscribe to Lauren, the Court of Random Opinion. She breaks down all of the yummy Baldoni madness. She just had Kirsty Flaw on her podcast where they talk about the I'm assuming you talked about Dobson as well in the video and the legitimacy of.
We did.
Yeah. So guys, go subscribe to Lauren, the Court of Random Opinion, Lethal Lauren 904. Show her some love. And then while you're also scrolling the internet, be sure to get your tickets to the Zactivated tour. Lauren is going to be on stage with me and Andy. We're going to be breaking all of this down at the Tempe Improv on July 13th in Phoenix, Arizona. So come on down, get your tickets, show some love. And also, just for the Phoenix show, and just because I have Lauren on the show today, I'm giving you guys 25% off if you use code Lauren.
Nice.
Use code Lauren to get your tickets. Go to nofilterlive.com.
That's going to have consequences, though, because I'm going to be there. So
it's going to be fun. So if you want to come to Phoenix, you can get 25% off tickets this weekend to celebrate Lauren. Oh, look at Ashley says, see you in Phoenix.
Oh, so cool.
So we will see you guys in Phoenix. Lauren, anything else you want to shout out before we wrap?
No, I don't think I should. No, I'm good. I just got to get back to work, unfortunately.
Fun. What a yummy weekend.
I mean, all I have to do is walk over to my other desk, so it's not a big deal. But at the same time, it's like I have to go back to being an adult and doing things that I don't want to do for money. This is fun. That is not. So
Michelle says she's going to sneak you a yummy before the show. Okay, Mickey.
No, not before the show. I'm not going to derail Zach's tour like that. Come on. After.
Were you part of Andy's documentary?
No, not right now. I know somebody, I think it was Michelle, said something about remote filming, so maybe, but not at this moment. No, I was gonna try to go out to New York when they were out there, but I was just too busy, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know there's a lot more to come with the docuseries. It ends with Justice. It drops on August 7th. Donna's in it. I'm in it. You get some tidbits from some of your other favorite creators on like TikTok and YouTube. But Andy has a very special exclusive sneak peek of the documentary that he's going to be showing on stage
Nice.
in Phoenix. So you'll get to watch that if you come to the show. But get your tickets at nofilterlive.com. Lauren, thank you for coming back on the show. You'll need
Thanks,
to come
Beth.
back again soon. Hopefully
Yeah,
we'll have
appreciate
some
it.
yummy discovery to break down soon.
Okay. Well, I will be here despite you using that word repeatedly.
All right.
Bye,
Have a
man.
good one.
You too.
Bye. Oh, what a fun show. Guys, go subscribe to Lauren, Court of Random Opinion. Show her some love. Hit the like button if you're still watching this right now. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Let's see if we got any new Apple Podcast reviews. I know we've been getting quite a few lately, but keep sending them in so I can keep showing you some love. But definitely subscribe, hit the like button, drop a comment. Boom. Christina says, we reclaimed Yummy on Zack's show. That we did. We made Fetch happen. It's always a good time. There's a new episode of the Pop Report that's out right now. There's a new episode of Don't Let It Stew. I'm a guest on Don't Let It Stew today, and I'm also a guest on Carlos King's podcast, Reality with the King. So if you need more content of me this weekend, then you have Don't Let It Stew, you have Reality with the King, Carlos King, and then you also have a new episode of the Pop Report. We break down Alex Cooper and her harassment claims and BU coming out against Alex Cooper with their alumni putting together a letter, the school issuing a statement against Alex Cooper. We give you a Wendy Williams update, celebrity breakup news, Katie in Orlando, lots of fun stuff that we covered this week. So get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get it. Enrique says, I saw a few of your all videos yesterday. Oh, all right. Did I miss Zack singing the dragon song? Oh, I didn't sing the dragon song. I'm not your dragon, so don't you go dragging my name. I'm not your dragon. And I did sing it on Instagram, so you can follow me at Just Plain Zack on Instagram, or you can follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack. Oh, look, we did get a couple new reviews. We have Kayla B 2011. She said, love listening to Zack. I love how he tries to see both sides of things. Thank you, Kayla. We have Mr. Blind who said, love this guy. You're the voice of reason, Zack, which is very dangerous to people who hate this country. Keep doing what you're doing and don't give up your common sense. My new favorite podcast. Thank you, Mr. Blind. I appreciate that. That's so sweet. We have Luke's fan says common sense. Love this podcast. And then Lar Trainer says, yummiest podcast. Zack is my daily go-to for the most up-to-date info on everything regarding celebrities and more. I love that he's down to earth and real and yet super funny. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. I will talk to you on Monday. Ciao for now. Goodbye for now to you, my friends. Goodbye for now until we meet again. And also check out Andy's song, You're Not My Dragon. It's available now on Spotify. I'm not your dragon, and don't you go dragging my name. It's called I'm Not Your Dragon. Check it out. Okay, bye.